Welcome back to the Centurion boats at the Glen, NASCAR Sprint Cup Series event. The 18 car, Kyle Busch peeled off. There comes Dale Earnhardt Jr., who's the leader. Busch, who would let him down from the pole as the points leader, coming down for his pit stop at 35 miles an hour. Kevin Harvick, by the way, pitted. So did Jeff Burton, Jimmy McMurray, Clint Boyer, and the 12 car of Ryan Newman a moment ago while we were away. Here comes Tony Stewart and Kyle Busch. Mike.
And Kyle Busch hits to his pit box. The team goes to work. They're looking for a 4-tire change there. Kyle saying the car a little bit tight in the left-hand turns. They're also going to put a rounder wedge in on the right rear side as they make the adjustments on the 18. Meanwhile, the 20 car just a couple pit stalls back. Tony Stewart very quiet on the radio. They've been looking for rear grip all weekend, though. That's what Zippy was trying to give him with a 4-tire change here. Let's go to Dave.
Denny Hamlin's on pit road, Mike. A 4-tire change. It was a little free off of the right-handers. That'll be a wedge adjustment in the rear of that race car. 4 tires on and completed. He is off pit road.
Denny Hamlin down. Leader continues to be Dale Earnhardt Jr. By the way, if you just joined our coverage, Kyle Busch led the first lap, and then Dale Earnhardt Jr. has led the 22 laps since then. Jimmy Johnson, though, moving in on Earnhardt. Neither one of these cars have been on pit road as of yet.
Andy, are these guys taking a real chance staying out there with all of these other cars getting on pit road? The caution comes out and they have to pit then. I mean, I guess they're just going to stick with their strategy, but they're staying out there a long time.
Though I guess the only reason they're staying out here is because they know they can't make it. Their fuel mileage may not be quite as good, but it is very risky to stay out here because if the caution comes out, they're going to be behind. Jamie?
Martin Truex Jr. said one thing on the radio this entire race: the car is good. He is pumped. He started 18th, went all the way up to 3rd. 4 tires, no changes for the 1. Shannon?
Well, your winner from last night, Marcos Ambrose, says he's lost forward bite. They're going to take 4 tires on that number 21 car as they go to work on a car for Marcos Ambrose. They're also going to get some Sunoco fuel. Marcos Ambrose is out and away.
That was the big question. Marcos Ambrose has a very good car, may have the best car here, but how would the pit crew respond? Would they be able to keep him in where he needs to be by getting on and off pit road?
Well, they lost some time on their pit stop. At least they did get in and off pit road now. They're in pretty good shape. Jamie?
And David Reagan in his backup car yesterday in practice had a little incident and crunched his primary. Was falling off at the start of the race, but it's coming to him, getting gripped just like everyone else. 4 tires for David Reagan as they jack up the right side. 2nd. And he stalls it on the exit, guys. He gets it refired. David Reagan down and away.
One thing that makes it hard for these guys to get off pit road is they actually use first gear on the racetrack, and they can gear it any way they want, and they gear them up pretty high, and that's why it chokes the engine down sometimes when these guys take off.
Here's our battle for the lead with Dale Jr. still leading. Jimmy Johnson has closed in some more on him.
They need to battle down the pit roads. What they need to do, they're going to be in trouble here.
Juan Pablo Montoya, by the way, is 3rd. About a half a straightaway behind these guys.
If the caution doesn't come out, it won't hurt them to run extra laps here.
There's Juan Pablo, started back in 25th. He has hustled his car into the top 5. I realize there have been some pit stops, so he is back in 3rd spot.
Now, he's running very good lap times, though, in comparison to the guys up front. So he does have a really good car, which he, again, told us a number of times this weekend.
Earnhardt Jr., Jimmy Johnson, Montoya, then Casey Kane is 4th. Jeff Gordon in the 24 car, trying to hold off Kurt Busch. That's for 5th position.
There's Jimmy Johnson.
You mentioned he's never won on a road course, hoping to end that drought in road racing today. Mike.
And they learned a lot yesterday during the nationwide race. One thing in particular, fuel mileage. They learned it, unfortunately, the hard way. That may be why they're pitting a little bit late. Jimmy Johnson saying the car a little bit edgy with the back. He's looking for a little bit of help. They'll make an air pressure adjustment. Also a 4-tire change on the 48 cars. They now swing around to the right side, pitting a little bit differently than they do on an oval. Left side first, right side next. They're down off the Jackson away. Jamie.
And Kurt Busch, the 2 cars, started 19th, working his way up. He's a road course ringer. To some people, he says this car is pretty good. Air pressure adjustment wedge, 4 tires for Kurt Busch, who's trying to rebound after running out of fuel last week at Pocono. Guys.
Kurt had driven that car up into the top 5. Here is Eric Almirola driving the car. He shares with Mark Martin for DEI. Coming to you, Jamie.
Eric Almirola, glad to be back in the car. It's the first time since the announcement that he'll be full-time in this car next season. season. Crew goes around to the left side first and then around to the right. Eric making his first start here at the Glen, starting 15th, of course, because of owner points. Let's see if they can get it down in a way. 16.3, a little longer than normal, guys, and that seems to be the standard here today.
One reason these pit stops are not as quick as we normally see is because the guys are coming from the other side of the wall, and everything's backwards for these guys. Shannon?
Yeah, Juan Pablo Montoya says it's just a little bit loose getting into the corners. They're going to make some air pressure adjustments on those back tires. 4 tires and fuel for Juan Pablo Montoya. What a great day for this car so far. He's moved his way from the back to the front of the field. Juan Pablo Montoya very happy with the car, just a little bit loose.
15.7, pretty good pit stop there for the Ganassi Sabatas team. Here's Casey Kane in for his first stop of the day.
NASCAR is actually asking, the 24 team is asking NASCAR to post the 24 because they can't communicate with Jeff Gordon. They want to get him on pit road.
What they mean by posting is they put that up on the electronic signboard at the flag stand so that when Jeff comes by, he sees his number flashing, indicating they want him to come to pit road because they cannot hear the guys here in the pits.
They'll actually do that for you about one time a race. After that, they won't do it anymore for you, will they, Andy?
I've never had them do that for me ever. I guess they would, but I've never asked them to do it.
Gordon now will come out of turn 11, which is the right-hander, and head down. They should have his number on the flag stand there flashing as he comes by.
Need to get to the old chalkboard out.
Yeah, they actually black flagged him right there at the start-finish line, trying to get his attention to make sure that he looked up, because a lot of times you won't be looking for that if you don't think there's anything wrong. But they're trying to help them in this case to get Jeff to pit road. And I'm sure he's been wondering why they're not telling him.
Post us if you don't say nothing. Tell us NASCAR official to post us. Or pit this time, Jeff.
Well, they've got all of the spotters around the track that he has trying to get the communication to him. It'll be interesting to see. I'm sure he saw the black flag last time. He's probably wondering why that is, but he might not be aware that he doesn't have that communication.
He could have pulled his earplugs. There's where his earplugs go, the earphones have a plug on them, and he could have pulled them out where he doesn't hear them.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. on pit road for his first stop of the day as they are going to work lap 30, a third of the way home. Shannon.
Yeah, Dale Earnhardt Jr., your race leader, has led most of this race. The guys going to work on that number 88, and they say it's just a little bit tight for Dale Jr. They're going to take 4 tires and fuel. The plan was to have Dale Jr. stay out as long as he could. He said, keep me out here as long as you want, I'll stay. They come down. Good pit stop. Had a little problem getting that fired up, guys.
Jeff Gordon does indeed heed the black flag and will come down for 4 tires and a radio adjustment. They'll check that plug, as Andy mentioned there, the plug into the back of the helmet and where the radio hooks in. He's headed to you, Dave.
5 away, 3, 2, 4 tires, rubbers out.
Originally, this was going to be a stop to pull spring rubbers out of the rear springs and to make an air pressure adjustment because Jeff's car was so loose but tight in other places. Now let's see if they go into the cockpit. Not at all. They're still trying to talk to Jeff, but no word back from Jeff. So this radio issue is going to be an issue throughout the day, it appears. And they're done with their pit stop, but again, nothing changed on the communication side. Jeff not hearing his crew.
Well, he probably has another radio in there, so they may have got him to switch over to the other radio.
There's a radio going in. They're handing him a radio inside the car, or trying to.
That's pretty tough.
Yeah, it looks like it has a harness hooked to it as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that could be wrong there. That's the unfortunate thing. They did make some changes with the rear springs. Brewer?
Hey, guys, what we have right here, this is the earplugs that actually plugs into the side of the helmet. But you're right, DJ. Right down here, we've got 2 radios. We've got a harness here. It's marked Radio 1, Radio 2. So if you got a problem, you just go to that second system. But I'm like you. I think this plug came loose, and that's where it fixes to the other side of the helmet. And what that does, it changes both systems. DJ?
Yeah, it doesn't take much sometimes, especially on the road courses where you're moving back and forth in the cockpit a little bit more than you would somewhere else for just a wire to get loose. And it only takes a little bit of that connection to come loose to not be able to have that communication.
Guys, I don't know what happened. That radio came disconnected. We're still here.
Well, they got it fixed now, so things are good. They might
All
wish
about
they
the
hadn't,
details.
because he might be complaining about his car a little bit more, and we'll see what happens. Kyle Busch is your leader now. Jimmy Johnson in second. We'll be back to the Glen in just a minute.